What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. In today's video, we are rolling right along with our 7-round team mock drafts for the 2023 NFL Draft. And I know if you tuned into the last one, which so happened to be the Patriots 7-round mock draft, on the pinned comment, I did say that the Green Bay Packers were next. But since we don't really know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers just yet, whether he's going to retire, whether he's going to be traded, I didn't think it would make sense to do a Green Bay Packers mock draft when it feels like we're so close to knowing if he's going to be traded. And then I didn't want to do a Packers mock draft and then miss out on all that potential extra draft capital that the Packers would get via a trade. So I'm going to skip over the Packers. They actually made a pick. The simulation made a pick that I was going to make anyway. So I guess for the Green Bay Packers mock draft that eventually comes out, I guess you already have a sneak peek of what the first pick or what my first pick would be. But we are going to focus on the Washington Commanders today. Washington Commanders are an interesting team. If you look at their roster on paper, it really seems like they're just a quarterback away from being like a bona fide contender in the NFC East. But you know, they like what they saw from Sam Howell in week 18. So they're going to, as of right now, they're going to roll with him into this year. So if you're looking for any type of quarterback selection in this mock draft, just know that there is none, not even through the 7th round. I didn't even bother. I figured if anything, they're going to bring in a veteran presence that'll challenge Sam Howell. And if Sam Howell starts to slump, they will bring in that veteran presence to start and then maybe look for the 2024 NFL draft for their franchise type guy. That's definitely the draft class that you're looking for to get your franchise type guy. So moving into pick number 16, I know I have the cornerback group up here, and this is what I really wanted to go with at first. I really wanted to go with Cam Smith because not only is Cam Smith a great cornerback, but he also fits the Washington Commanders defensive scheme perfectly. They run majority zone coverage. He is the best zone cover cornerback in the entire draft class. But then I thought to myself, man, this is a super deep cornerback class. I think we can get away with maybe waiting until round 2 for a cornerback, but the offensive line issues for the Washington Commanders should be first and foremost. So I'm not going to go with a tackle. I'm going to go with someone that could be a tackle when it's all said and done. I'm going to take O'Cyrus Torrence here at number 16. This is a guy who was great at the Senior Bowl, who has incredible measurables, 6'6", 345 pounds. He's versatile on the interior, and he's got the size to kick out and play tackle if necessary. I mean, 6'6", 345, that is tremendous size for anywhere on the offensive line. I think he'd be an extreme asset for the Washington Commanders, and he'd step right in and be a starting guard on either side, honestly, of the line. I think it would be a great pickup. And like I said, with that line versatility, who knows? He could even kick out and play tackle if needed. And then, like I previously mentioned with that first pick, moving on to pick number 47, this is where I'm going to take a cornerback. I know even so, I mean, this is just such a deep class that I could probably even wait until round 3 and get someone super, super talented that'll start right away. But I'm not going to, especially with Deonte Banks on the board still here in round 2. This would 100% be my selection. 6'1", 200 pounds, has really nice size to play on the outside. He's got good speed, 4.45 speed on the outside as well. He can keep up with those wide receivers on the outside. This is something that the Washington Commanders on paper, if you look at their cornerback room, don't necessarily need a cornerback right now, but next year, basically their entire cornerback group is a free agent. They're not going to be able to retain everyone, nor will they probably want to retain everyone. So I think you get ahead of the game and you take someone like Deonte Banks, who has real appeal on the outside. Moving on to pick number 97 here for the Washington Commanders. And this is an interesting pick. I definitely want to go linebacker here because if you look at maybe the weakest areas of the team, I think linebacker really stands out, not only on the depth chart, but if you look at all the free agents that the Washington Commanders have, basically everyone except for Jamin Davis is a free agent. So they're going to have to address it at some point. I figured that this is also a deep linebacker class as well. So I'd have no shame in taking a linebacker inside the first 100 picks. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And it's going to be DeMarvion Overshawn for me. The reason why is he has some real appeal as a Isaiah Simmons or a Deon Buchanan type of player. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. He's got some really interesting build, extremely athletic. He even took some snaps at cornerback and safety at some point in his collegiate career, not meaningful snaps in practice. in spring games, all that kind of stuff. He was all over the place. So I really like that hybrid type of appeal. I know that a failed experiment for the Washington Commanders back, kind of a similar player, was Sua Cravens, but hopefully this turns out a little bit better. I like DeMarvion Overshown here because not only can he just step in right next to Jamin Davis and be a every down linebacker, but he could also be moved around like a chess piece. I think it would be great for Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera's defense. Then at pick number 118, I'm going to go back to the offensive line here. I think a total overhaul between free agency, possibly even the trade market and the draft. They need a complete overhaul in this offensive line. I know that the tackle position kind of looks pretty deep if you look at it on paper. Sam Cosmi, Cornelius Lucas, Sadiq Charles, guys like that. It's pretty deep, but I think they really need an upgrade. Not only someone that could take meaningful snaps, but someone that could be a meaningful backup, maybe even like a swing tackle type of guy at first, and then step into the starting role eventually. And I like Tyler Steen out of Alabama, 6'5", 315 pounds. It really has some appeal as a future left tackle of the future. I know Sam Cosmi, I believe, lines up at right tackle. Someone fact check me on that if that's not true. But I know he's predominantly been lining up at right tackle, so he could be the left tackle of the future. A lot to like about Tyler Steen here, especially in the fourth round at pick number 118. You're getting a starting offensive lineman from Alabama, so a blue chip prospect in that. Then at number 152, kind of in an interesting spot here because, like I said before, there's so many positions that are actually kind of sort of deep on the Washington Commanders team. Like, I didn't even look at wide receiver because they're just so deep. I believe Cam Sims is the only wide receiver on their depth chart that actually is an unrestricted free agent coming up this year. So I didn't even look in some of these areas, but one area that intrigued me was defensive end. They really are kind of thin on the ends of the defensive line. So I'd like to kind of upgrade that, maybe get a nice rotational pass rusher in there. So I'm going to go to Dylan Horton here out of TCU. This is a guy coming off of back-to-back really, really nice seasons. He's got great size, 6'4", 275 pounds. He's quick off the edge as well. I think this would be an excellent addition at this point in the draft. If you can get someone that maybe can replace Shaka Toney or something like that as like a backup defensive end at first, I think that would be excellent value at this point in the draft. Another area of this team that is interesting to me is the tight end group because Logan Thomas is on the wrong side of 30. I believe he's turning 32 this year, coming off of his worst season statistically and injury history-wise. Didn't really play that much. Honestly, I could see him as a cut candidate. I know they drafted Cole Turner last year. They also have John Bates, who is pretty solid. I'd like to see them add to that tight end group, though. So get someone really athletic and could be a real red zone threat. And I really like Cameron Latu from Alabama. I know I took an Alabama player just before. Again, that really doesn't matter to me, to be honest with you. Latu's really interesting, 6'5", 244 pounds. He's a good blocker, good versatility, and he's a good seam route runner as well. As you saw the last couple years for Alabama, he was really a red zone guy. I believe all 7 of his touchdowns that Bryce Young threw to him were all inside like the 5th, not even the 20. I think he was like inside the 15-yard line. He's got some real appeal in the red zone. He's a decent blocker as well. I would like to add to that tight end room and get Cameron Latu here in the 6th round. And at this point in the 6th round, at pick number 215, I'm going to dip into the special teams pool here, and I'm going to draft a kicker. Joey Sly was pretty awful this past year. He ranked towards the bottom in every single aspect of kicking except for maybe his season long, which I believe was 58 yards. It's time that he's gone. You got to draft. I mean, you don't have to draft a kicker, but the last few kickers that have been drafted have turned out really, really well for those teams. So why not take, you got a few 6th round picks. You might as well take a chance on one. Jake Moody is here. I think Jake Moody was the best kicker by far in college football last year. Very accurate. It's got a really, really strong leg. I believe I saw him make a 57 or 58 yarder in like the whatever game it was. I know I did recall seeing him hit his 57 or 58 yard or whatever it may be, but I like Jake Moody here to replace Joey Sly. I know I said it before, and you kind of got to rebuild that offensive line throughout the entire offseason, but I'm going to use my last pick here. I was kind of debating whether to use it on a defensive lineman, but like I said before, everyone's pretty much locked up except for Daron Payne, which I fully expect the Washington Commanders to kind of go all in for to retain. He's such a big part of that defensive line. I'm going to go with offensive line again. Nick Saldiveri is someone that I really, really enjoyed watching during the Senior Bowl. He starched a couple really, really good defensive linemen. I think, coming out of a small school, he's going to be a guy that's probably going to be there in the 6th, 7th round, even after a strong Senior Bowl showing. I think he'd offer some really nice depth at the back end of maybe even like a guard, the tackle position as well. I think it would be a really nice piece to add, kind of like a developmental tackle. Maybe you can turn him into something. I think it would be a nice pickup at pick number 235. And there you have it. There is my full 7-round 2023 Washington Commanders mock draft. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Now that the NFL season is officially over, we are forging right ahead to the NFL draft. There will be tons of content to be had and to be watched from this channel, and I don't want you to miss any of it, especially if you enjoyed this video. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.